Hello, my name is Joseph Blonsky, and today we'll be doing a Aristocrats movie critique that I wrote for Com 205 Disney Studies. Without further ado, here we go. When the Aristocrats premiered in 1970, it marked an end of an era for Disney. The last animated feature personally approved by Walt Disney himself. It is a charming, musically spirited film that captures the studio's family-friendly sensibilities, but also reveals the creative stagnation that Disney faced after The Jungle Book. My critique argues that while The Aristocrats succeeds as light entertainment, it lacks the narrative ambition and emotional depth that define Disney's more endearing classics. From the outset, the film positions itself as a gentle fantasy about class and culture, centering on Duchess and her 3 kittens, pampered Persian cats named by their greedy butler and helped home by a streetwise alley cat named Thomas O'Malley. Of course, Thomas O'Malley. You can't go wrong with Thomas O'Malley. But on paper, this could have been an explanation of identity, belonging, or the meeting of 2 worlds. The upper-class refinement of Duchess versus the earthy improvisation of O'Malley. However, the script doesn't quite raise to that potential. Instead, it relies heavily on formulaic gags, musical interludes, and predictable resolutions. The screenplay, while pleasant, often feels padded. Most that could have deepened the characters' relationships are replaced by lengthy side sequences, most notably the Everyone Wants to Be a Cat number, which, while iconic, serves more as a spectacle than story development. The dialogue leans towards the safe and sentimental. It avoids the emotional or moral complexity that earlier Disney films like Bambi or Pinocchio decided to explore. In terms of characterization, The Aristocrats functions best when it embraces its supporting cast. O'Malley, voiced by Phil Harris, brings a jazzy warmth reminiscent of Baloo the Bear, perhaps too reminiscent. The kittens are charming but largely indistinguishable behind their small quirks, and the villain Edgar remains more of a caricature than a credible threat. The voice acting is competent, yet one can sense that the audio studio was recycling energy rather than inventing it. Visually, however, the film is delightful in its sketchy watercolor style, a hallmark of Disney's late 1960s animation. If you watch any Disney movie from 1960, I think you'll see that it focuses much more on the backdrop rather than your character development, only because to make a movie very attention-grabby, you need to have a visual pull. And during that time, Disney was only focusing on visual pull so they could get their money. But anyways, the Persian backdrops are really romantic and painterly, giving the movie a nostalgic tone that appeals to audiences. The use of xerography gives the animation a rough texture, which oddly complements the street feel of the story, even though the setting remains too sanitized to convey real grit. The musical score by the Sherman Brothers is lively and well crafted, especially Thomas O'Malley Cat and Everyone Wants to Be a Cat. These songs infuse the film with an infectious rhythm that captures the optimism of post-war jazz culture, but yet These songs infuse the film with an infectious rhythm that captures the optimism of a post-war jazz culture. Yet, while the soundtrack carries the movie, it is also underscoring its limitations. When the music stops, so does most of the film's energy. Thematically, The Aristocrats tries to celebrate the idea that love and family transcend class. Duchess's acceptance of O'Malley and the merging of their 2 worlds suggests a message of social harmony, but the film never fully integrates what it means. Instead, it leans on surface-level charm and predictable found family resolution. Ultimately, The Aristocrats isn't an acceptable film as far as character-wise. Enjoyable for its music, humor, and nostalgic tone, but lacking the ambition that could have elevated it beyond its genre. It entertains, but it rarely moves. The result is a film that is pleasant to revisit, but not profound to remember. Overall, The Aristocrats is a well-made but ordinary entry in the Disney canon. It offers a glimpse of what Disney once was and a reminder of the creativity that it would later rediscover in its renaissance years later.